That's Caged Heat, because we watched Season 8, Episode 11, The Little Jerry. So, Katie.
Hello.
How did you like The Little Jerry?
We have a lot to talk about.
Do we?
I assume you are going to tell me a lot about the live roosters in this episode. I had zero idea this was about roosters and cockfighting.
What did you think it was?
I don't know. I was actually picturing the Fusilli Jerry. So I knew it wasn't going to be that, but nowhere have I heard about cockfighting.
You have a poster with a picture of a rooster.
I don't know
says
what
Little Jerry underneath it.
Look, when I looked at the poster, it meant nothing to me, and then I forgot.
You're blaming me?
No.
So The Little Jerry was written by Jennifer Crittenden.
Who?
Crittenden? This is the second episode of Seinfeld that she had written. The first being The Package, episode 5 of season 8. It was directed by Andy Ackerman. It aired on January 9th, 1997. Today.
Wow. Oh my God, we're in sync.
Screen Crush ranked it as the 143rd best episode. Vulture.com had it as the 74th best episode.
Come on.
And IMDb ranked it as the 86th with an 8.3 out of 10.
How does Vulture think it's twice as good?
I don't think that's how it works.
No, that's how it's going to work today.
I think 143 is a low rating for this.
You know what? I will give it this. It started out fine.
And then it got better? It started out fine, and then it got fantastic.
No, it started out fine.
Oh.
And then...
You didn't like it? What didn't you like about it? The animal cruelty?
At one point I just wrote broad.
In reference to what?
The humor.
Why don't you read us the synopsis?
Hijinks. George dates a prison inmate. A bodega owner displays Jerry's bounce check. Kramer buys a rooster. That's when I started shaking my head when I was writing this down. Elaine wants her boyfriend to grow his hair out.
You laughed at Kramer walking the rooster down the street.
I did because it was funny. I'm allowed to laugh and still not like it.
Or think that it's funny.
Did you like it? You seem to be really defending the Little Jerry.
I don't think it's as bad as 143. I think a 74 is probably right.
How many times did they say what in this episode?
I think this might be the first episode where they acknowledge like the intersecting of their stories. That like George walks in, Celia broke out of prison, and then Kramer's like, Little Jerry has to cockfight. I was like, what are you talking about?
I do like that Jerry just said, I'm too tired. He's not explaining to them. No. I did write later on, self-aware, ? Because Jerry goes, this is a little too much for me. Conjugal visits, fugitives, I have a cockfight to prepare for. So I want to think that this is the writers going like, this is too much. But I'm not sure that it's self-aware enough.
We can accept cockfighting as one absurdity, but conjugal visits and fugitives is...
I think the George storyline is good. We can try and talk about it in order, but I just want to ask you, do you think a woman in prison is the perfect relationship for a man?
No. So,
in the sitcom world, or in like a young man's world.
So even in the sitcom world, so when George finds out that Celia is up for parole, he like comes in, he's all distraught. He's like, oh, she's been in for 2 years. She's going to want to make up time. Restaurants and whatever, all in the talking. But 100% of all of the dates that they would have done would have been just talking. He would have been going to the prison and sitting there and talking to her for an hour.
Conjugal visits.
How many 1 hour talks do you think you got to put in for a conjugal visit?
I don't know.
Or is it caged heat and she's just ready to go?
I don't know. Oh, I thought you meant like institutionally. They're like, you have to come visit 5 times before you.
You got a punch card?
Yeah. No, I think George is fine with the 1 hour visits because he knows there's an ending to it. He can sit there and talk schmoopy to her because
there's light at the end of the tunnel.
Bobby's there telling him he's got 5 more minutes. And he's like, well, there's nothing I can do.
Mm-hmm. So what you're saying is the perfect date is time bound.
Yeah, and then you don't see each other for a week.
Okay. I mean, maybe there is a rule. Like, can you just show up at a prison and be like, hey, anybody want to...
I don't know.
I think we might be able to solve the incel problem.
I think even female inmates have standards, Derek.
The name will fix itself. Incels for incels.
Wait a minute.
Like,
I get it. Yeah, it's good. It's clever.
Just to be clear, I'm not whoring out the women prisoners. I'm whoring out the incels.
You can't compel somebody to have sex, even if they are incarcerated. You could make them work for free, but you can't make them have sex.
This is true. This is the type of prison reform that I think we can really get behind.
You know what? If incels just started writing some letters, I'm sure they would make, connections with lonely women in prison.
I think they stopped being so weird. They'd make connections with women all over the place.
Yeah, but I'm assuming they've tried that. How did we get here?
Did you know that the term incel was coined by a woman from Ottawa?
I thought you were going to say a woman from prison. No, I didn't know that.
And it originally was just like, I can't find a date. I'm involuntary celibate, and had like a group that was just like helping people like actually figure out how to get dates.
Okay. It was just like a fun, cute, like, golly gee.
It was like a hey, like all of us can't find dates. Let's like tell each other like it was like a working group. Like hey, what happened with you? Oh, what happened with that girl? Like, oh, did you try and go? And so in like an interview, they were like, how did it go so wrong? And she was like, the problem is that people that could find dates eventually like left that community. Because once you get a partner, you're not going to be like sticking around and helping out. And then the only people that are left there are unable to do it and get angry and resentful, etc.
Also, if you're the type of person whose response to my dating life is unsatisfactory, I'm going to get a bunch of people together and talk to them, you're probably well set up to meet somebody because you are going out in public, talking to people. And
well, I do think it was an internet like message board.
Okay, sure. Well, let's replace going out in public to being civil to people on the internet.
Well, nobody does that anymore. Join us on Blue Sky.
I don't know what you're getting on Blue Sky because for me, it's just British comedians, science facts, the World Bollard Association, which is the best follow on Blue Sky. You said you're getting a whole bunch of like OnlyFans.
Because you can't have private profiles, a lot of people are adding me.
Oh.
The OnlyFans bots have arrived, but I just blocked them.
Okay. So I got a comedian, taskmaster, contestant, famous person, Mark Watson, to follow me.
Mark Watson follows.
I think he's confusing me for the British singer Katie Shaw.
No, not probably not. Did I say too fast?
But you also have a very generic name, so I'm surprised people don't think you're that guy who played cricket or soccer or whatever.
He's old. We don't look alike.
They assume he's not computer literate.
Probably not.
This is a podcast about Seinfeld. Who are the guest stars?
Oh, yeah, we should do that. So Andrea Bendewald played Celia. She was in a whole bunch of episodes of Suddenly Susan, and then was like an episode of this, an episode of that. So she was on like House and stuff. And then she was in a movie called Amy's Orgasm, where she was credited with the role of Beautiful Girl. It was after Seinfeld, so I feel like
it's a step down.
I don't know.
She had a name. She had a name.
Calling her Beautiful Girl. Beautiful Woman. Right? Yeah? No? Okay. Miguel Sandoval played Marcelino.
Mm-hmm.
He was in Clear and Present Danger, Get Shorty, and Jurassic Park.
Oh.
And then we had John Michael Higgins, who played Kurt.
Carpe Diem!
Who has been in literally everything.
Yeah. I first thought, when he came into the diner and then he kind of turned and walked away, I thought he was Robert Gulia from The Wedding Singer.
Okay.
I think his name is Robert. Julia Gulia's fiance.
Yeah.
Was cheating on her.
It was not him.
No.
So he was in A Mighty Wind, Best in Show, Pitch Perfect, does a voice on Bob's Burgers, was in an episode of Community.
Many episodes of Community.
Many?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Maybe that's not true. Maybe I've just seen it many times.
I think it was just one. I will have a birthday cake.
Day seized. We knew we were in trouble when Kramer's eating eggs and he says this chicken should be ashamed of himself.
Because he misgendered the chicken?
I did laugh when Elaine brings her boyfriend and Kramer goes, "Hey, Kurt, taste these eggs."
Mm-hmm. We had 2 Kramer laughs this episode.
I did. It's still bad. I did like when George was fangirling over a pretty woman being a convict. He was all giggly.
That was really good.
You laughed when George revealed what she was in prison for. He said embezzlement, and Kramer said, "Sounds like a nice girl." And you laughed out loud.
It was just such a genuine reaction to it.
Then Jerry goes, "You don't have a fridge, do you?"
Not here.
Yeah. Do you want to go back to the beginning? I feel like you're looking for where we are in your notes.
I don't know. I just wrote down a bunch of things that happened. I kind of liked how George was at the prison and he was, what about the gang fights?
Yeah.
Their yard. You ever put somebody in a hole?
And he calls the warden. She says, "Betsy."
I did like when Celia asked him like, "Oh, are you the head of the foundation?"
Wouldn't exist without me.
Yeah. For the scene where he was talking to Celia, he was gushing once he found, is all I wrote for her.
Yeah. I also liked when it's revealed that Kurt shaves his head. And George said, "That's like using a wheelchair for the fun of it."
Did they say he looked like a supervillain?
Jerry asked if he was from the future. I don't know what that means.
Just because he was dressed like he had a big collar and then the beard and the shaved head.
He did sort of look like a DC villain.
Yeah, he looked like a very well put together man.
Yeah. He looked fine bald. I don't know what Aleen's problem is. She was obsessed with his chestnut hair with auburn highlights.
It's brown?
I mean, as a woman, I don't think hair on a man is important. You have nice hair.
You say it's black, though.
Your hair is black. Jesus.
It's brown.
What color is our car?
Currently, the car that we have is black.
What was our previous car?
Blue.
You're colorblind and insane.
Let's take a look at the dress and we'll figure out.
Oh my God.
Color is relative.
10 years.
10 years next month. The dress.
Yeah. The dress is older than our kid. The dress meme. Everyone remembers where they were that day when you got sent that picture and be like, what color is this dress? And then you would hear, I was at work. I can picture the desk I was sitting at and people shouting, what? You see white and gold?
Mm-hmm.
You see white and gold.
I do see white and gold.
It blows my mind. We were doing a video call with friends because we watch a TV show with them. And somehow the dress came up and both of the men see white and gold and both of the women see blue and black.
Gender lines.
I can't believe you see white and gold. Not even if I tell my brain it's white and gold, do I see white and gold.
So I brought it up. I can't remember why.
Yeah.
But I saw an Instagram reel about it and it was like 10 years ago. Oh, it was because the wife or the husband of the woman that posted the picture is in jail for domestic abuse.
But why did that come up?
I can't remember that. So usually with optical illusions, once you like know what it is, you can like force yourself to see it the other way. But this one you can't. And they aren't really sure why. There's like some like theories and explanation, but they haven't proved. So like one is like if your brain interprets that the dress is lit, it will think that it's white and gold. But if your brain assumes that it's in shade, it sees it as blue and black.
But the dress is blue and black.
The dress is blue and black and it is in shade. But because of the picture, the way it is, you would think that it is light. The way your brain interprets it. I don't know. That's what the very scientific Instagram reel said, Katie. So
like those audio
I did a lot of research.
The Lanny Laurel, what was it?
Yenny and Laurel and Green Needle and Brainstorm.
Yeah. I can make myself hear the other words.
Yeah.
Or like the dancer that's turning and you can make her turn the other way and all that stuff. But this does not flip for me.
No.
And
I can kind of see it if I look at if I bring up a picture on my phone and I look at it at a very, very severe angle.
But this blows my mind because we're looking at the same phone in the same room
at the same time,
at the same angle, and we are not seeing the same thing.
Yeah.
So your hair is black. Just deal with it.
I'm willing to possibly accept that you see my hair is black.
You like to think it's chestnut brown.
If you're willing to possibly
with auburn highlights.
That I see our old car as blue.
I mean,
didn't you think about this stuff when you were a kid? You were like, didn't you think like the color that I see?
No, the car was black when I was a kid.
The colors that I see might not be the same colors that other people see.
Oh yeah, sure.
But
objectively, though,
that
on
I was
the
told
ownership,
that this is red.
On the ownership, it says black. So how can you see it blue? Blue, like it's not in shadow. It's not in sun. The car is always black.
Fun fact that I learned today. This is a little bit of a tangent. So apparently, they did a survey of people with synesthesia, and they asked them what colors they associated with the letters of the alphabet.
Okay.
And there was a disproportionate amount, not a majority, but like a over 30% of people associated the same letter with the same color. And the only like way that they could justify this, or like the reasoning that they came up with, was because in the 1970s, Fisher-Price came out with a fridge magnet set of the alphabet that had those letters as the color. And like you just like had it burned into your
D
brain
is red, I
as
think.
whatever.
I really thought you were gonna say like letters actually have color, just most people don't see it.
Oh.
No, it's just a toy. This is the dumb toy everyone had.
So Jerry bounced a check.
We never find out. This is unsatisfying to me because he claims he's doing well. We never find out why he bounced the check.
It doesn't really make sense. First off, why are you using a check at a bodega?
Yeah.
Secondly, why does that check bounce?
It's like writing a joke without an ending. Like you're just like, just finish this thought. Why did he bounce the check? It could be a throwaway, like, you know, I had car repairs that month, or, you know, anything. Just to finish it.
What do you think would happen if you tried to, like, use a check to buy groceries?
Oh, they
or
would.
Like at like the corner store, we're just like, can I get this?
No. Have you ever seen anybody buy groceries with a check?
I don't think so.
I have. Not recently, but 15 years ago, you definitely could. Maybe 10 years ago, you still could.
I assume you can.
I don't think you can anymore.
I don't even know where a checkbook is.
That doesn't surprise me because you don't handle financial things.
I do.
You do?
Yeah. Oh. I was just talking about buying a GIC today.
I talked you out of it.
Terrible financial advice.
Buying the GIC or not buying the GIC?
Not buying the GIC. You recommend just letting the money sit around in a savings account.
To be fair, we're talking about our kids' piggy bank money.
This is true. Irregardless.
Parole. That's dynamite.
I mean, I guess we knew this was coming.
Yeah.
Things were going too well for George.
Yeah.
He's the universe's punching bag. Things had to come crashing down.
So he gets a glimmer of hope when Betsy asks him if there's anything they need to know about. I forget her name. I know the warden's name. I don't know her name. Celia. And he's like, oh, yeah, she's talking a lot about making plans, going to meet up with the old gang. That's what she says.
She has schemes.
And it doesn't work. Oh, it does work. But it doesn't work because then she breaks out.
Break out, pop in. But it does lead to fugitive sex.
I was going to say it's not quite believable that she breaks out of prison, but it is minimum security. She probably gets to go to the grocery store and stuff.
Yeah.
She
had a day pass and didn't come back.
So when the, I don't know, FBI, who is that? The Secret Service come looking for her.
U.S. Marshals usually are the ones that retrieve fugitives.
I'd know that if I'd seen the movie Fugitive, I assume.
Or the movie U.S. Marshals, which was a spin-off of The Fugitive. You haven't seen The Fugitive?
I didn't kill my wife.
I don't care.
I only know that from Community. They come to get Celia and they take Kurt.
We know it's you. We know you're bald.
So, without much fanfare, Kurt proposes to Elaine in this episode.
He only has, at best 14 months left to live.
Maybe 10.
He's only been shaving his head for 3 years.
Yeah.
The amount of baldness that has happened.
I have a question about this actor. Is he bald? Because I know him as having hair, but it could be a hair system. Is this his head we're looking at, or is this a bald cap with stubby hair on it?
John Michael Higgins shaved his head for this role.
So he was balding.
So I don't know. At first I was trying to figure that out because he has a very spherical head.
It's a good bald head. But you know what? I think maybe he's not balding because I feel like when we first see him, you can see his hairline where you would expect a hairline to be. And then they add in the stubble.
I think they
pattern.
Did it with makeup or a pen or ink or a tattoo or something.
A tattoo?
I don't know. He was committed to this role.
Perhaps glue and some shake on hair.
Well, no, because he only ever had dots, right? So I think it was probably it was meant to be you've been growing your hair for a few days.
Yeah.
Just enough that we can see where it would grow.
But the rest was bicked.
Yes.
Off. Yeah. You know what? Just before we watched this episode, as I was putting our kid to sleep, I was on the Our Hair System subreddit. And the way I got there, it doesn't matter, but I was reading a book about comedy that talked about the director Mike Nichols. And then I Googled Mike Nichols because I didn't really know what he had directed, and it's like a whole bunch of great movies. And in his Wikipedia page, it says he went bald at age 4 due to a reaction to the whooping cough vaccine injury, lost all his hair and eyebrows, and wore a toupee and fake eyebrows for the rest of his life.
Wow.
And so then I was looking at pictures of him. I was like, oh, well, now that I know it's a toupee, I can see that. But when I first saw a picture of him, I was just like, oh, there's a man.
It was a good one.
Yeah. So then I went down the hair system rabbit hole.
At my work on Fridays, we do like we call it like the social call. We do a whole bunch of different things. For a while, we were doing like meet, management, and different managers were getting interviewed. And one of the managers that I work with, actually 2 people that I work with that are both managers, both have alopecia. And so one of them was being interviewed, and I guess the person interviewing didn't know and was like, oh, I've never seen you with hair. Like, how long have you been shaving your head for? And so he explained that when he was like 7 or 8, he fell out of a bunk bed, hit his head on a table, and
went bald?
All of the hair fell out of his body.
Oh my God.
And he never grew hair ever again.
That really shows you gotta be sensitive when you ask people personal questions. You never know.
Sure. It's very obvious that he has alopecia, so I think this guy was just a bit of a dummy.
Have you seen on Instagram the guy with alopecia who always like sticks stuff to his head?
No.
Oh.
What kind of stuff does he stick to his head? Oh. So cockfighting. Call that a segue in the business.
I didn't really write a lot about it.
Looks like a dog with a glove on his head.
I was impressed with Michael Richards' cock handling. The way he handled his cock.
That's what the ladies say.
He knows how to put his arm around a cock.
And that's what some of the men say.
Right?
He was very good. I've shared with you that.
Are you afraid of birds?
I'm a little bit afraid of birds.
Yeah.
Not like I'd run out of a room if a bird was there, but like with a dog or a cat or a cow or a horse.
If there was a bird inside, you wouldn't leave the room.
I wouldn't run out of the room.
I would. Why is the bird inside?
I would have to do something about the bird. I'd be scared of the bird, but I would have to do something about it. But like,
Remember when the bat was in our room?
I do. So like if there's a mammal in the house, like I generally know how to deal with it.
Oh yeah.
But like a bird, they're
dinosaurs.
They move too quickly, and like they stop and then they move really quickly again.
They're very sharp.
Yeah. No.
They're not cuddly.
Mm-mm.
But I feel like,
why would anybody ever get a bird as a pet?
A chicken or a rooster has a really comforting heft to them. Like you could tuck.
It's like carrying around a basketball.
Yeah, that rooster looked very happy to be tucked under Kramer's arm. But those feet are sharp.
Yeah, and the beak.
But it was so silky. Should we get a chicken?
No.
You won't let me have a dog.
If we get a chicken, we owe your cousin a bunch of eggs. I don't know if you remember this.
Yes, we owe her half our eggs.
Mm-hmm.
That was the deal we made 10 years ago. I don't know how we're going to get them to Guelph every day or every other day. I guess we get one.
Eggs last quite well. I was just watching an Instagram reel.
This is an Instagram recap podcast.
About eggs. So eggs that you buy in the store are probably about 30 days old, and the expiry date
30 days.
The expiry date from when you buy them is usually about another 30 days. So for like best before date is usually like 60 days for an egg.
Refrigerated.
Yeah, but I think we refrigerate them because
for different reasons.
Yeah. But like an egg will still be good for like 90 to 120 days.
Would you eat an egg that was 4 months old?
I do remember when I was single, I bought a dozen eggs and I just like didn't get around to eating them. And like I left them in my fridge, and I like even was like, those are old eggs, I need to throw them out. And I even bought new eggs, and those new eggs. And then eventually I just like took the entire like carton of eggs. I think they were probably like 6 weeks past their best before date.
Oh.
They probably were still fine.
You could have baked with them, no? Oh, sorry.
Baking with rotten eggs is...
No, I was... what's less realistic is that you would bake something as a single man who didn't have a kettle, if I'm not mistaken.
I just put a pot full of water on the stove.
Yeah. Does
the same thing.
Yeah, technically you are correct.
The best kind of correct.
Remember that egg?
You did you did just have a weird egg. You bought a weird egg.
I didn't buy a weird egg.
I bought a weird egg.
18 eggs and one was weird.
You went to the store. You exchanged money for goods. One of those goods was a weird egg. It was wrinkly.
It was very wrinkly. The shell looked like super thick and like it had a hard time being laid.
How did that get past QA?
I don't know. That's a good question. I should have taken a picture of that egg.
Mm.
And then I didn't want to eat it, so we were just going to throw it out. But I kind of wanted to crack it to see if like another egg was inside.
Mm-hmm.
And the shell was paper thin.
Hmm.
It looked really thick and weird, but it was really flimsy.
Not enough calcium in that hen's diet.
Yeah. Free range. Cruelty free. That's the way to go.
Cage free, farm fresh.
Oh, is this episode about uncaged birds and caged women?
One might call them caged birds. So this is the introduction to tamales for me. I didn't know what a tamale was before I saw this episode. So I was 15 years old and they said a word and I was like, what is that word?
And ever since then, every time we have or mention tamales, you say, tamale.
And now you know why.
Now I know why. Jerry's talking to Elaine and he's like, you can't marry this guy. Like, what are you doing? It's so soon. Like, and she goes, it's 3:30 in the morning. I'm at a cockfight. What am I clinging to?
Does it really work? Because then Kurt goes over to George's.
It doesn't work at all.
Anyways.
This is a poorly written episode.
It's a poorly written line. If she'd said it's 12:30 or something, or like 3:30 is just too, it's 11 p.m. I'm at a cockfight.
Yeah.
What am I clinging to? I think that
would make
that's the
sense.
same joke and it still works and then it makes sense with the story.
Yeah.
But
So
it's two roosters pecking at each other. I thought they wore gloves and little helmets. Like American gladiators.
Yeah. So, that's all I got.
What's on tap for next week?
The money. What's it about?
It's about elderly people making poor financial decisions.
This after they just sent Jerry $50?
Yeah.
Well, I have no corrections because we're just back from holidays.
Mm-hmm.
Happy 2025.
On today, January 9th.
1997.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Believe it or not, this is our podcast. Please subscribe at the end. If you subscribed, we would be happy. Please subscribe to us. Believe it or not, it's our podcast.
Is that a Seinfeld reference?